To the United stand, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has literally got millions and millions to play with this summer, and I think that is a very, very positive thing. Ed Woodward had his chat with the shareholders today, and I tell you what, there's a lot of normal. I tell you what, I just find it really sort of grinding, to be honest with you. Look, you know how honest I am about my opinions. You know what I think about Manchester United and the way we've spent money over the last few years. But I do think people are moaning for moaning's sake at the moment, and I'll explain why. All I saw today on social media was moaning because Richard Arnold said that we're really happy with the app. That's his area of business. They're talking to shareholders who are interested in the business side of Manchester United. Like it or lump it, that's what we are as a football club. People weren't happy when Ed Woodward called Manchester United a business today. We've been a business ever since we were taken over by businessmen who don't support this club and bought us on debt. This is nothing new. This is nothing to start moaning about on social media because we're crap and the players can't be arsed. The business side of Manchester United, it bores me. It bores me that people are now using that as a rod to bang Manchester United on the back. As Manchester United fans, this has been going on for a very long, long time. It is not relevant to the problem at the moment. The problem with Manchester United at the moment is very poor recruitment and a very poor football squad. We've had the same owners, and in 2008, we won the Champions League and we won the league. We were a business then. We've always been a business under the Glazers. That is not... Well, maybe it's the bigger picture as to why things aren't going great, but it's certainly not the immediate issue. We have spent over £400 million since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. That is more than most clubs. We have massively failed because we've recruited the wrong players and the wrong managers. That is the problem. And the current problem with Manchester United at the moment is that squad is not the right squad for our manager. He knows it. And this summer, the board are going to back him. And that, for me, is something to be positive about, which sounds really weird after the season we've had, and it's not even a week old. But I personally, don't know what you lot think, I am bored of hearing, oh, Woodward's calling us a business. Oh, the Glazers this, the Glazers that. I don't think, Richard Arnold's talking about an app. You need to understand business. We are a business club. I don't like that, but we have always been a business club under the Glazers. And a shareholders meeting is not a free-for-all for fans and journalists to have a chat. It's because of the structure of the club, and we have shareholders who are businessmen, and they want to know business metrics about what's going on at our club. And unfortunately, in business, social media, apps, revenue streams, brands, that's the sort of stuff that comes out of this shareholders meeting. But time and time again, United fans get really moody about it. But what do you expect? It's not a press conference. But, there is a lot of positive things coming out of there. And I think, look, last season was crap. Absolutely crap for Manchester United. The club know it, you know it, the fans know it, we are the fans, the players know it, what I was meant to say. But it's because of Mourinho. It's because of Mourinho's recruitment. It's because of Mourinho's tactics. Then it's because of Ole. 3 good months, but he trained them too hard because they're not used to that. They ran out of energy and they're not good enough and they're not fit to wear the shirt. That's the issue with Manchester United. But I'll tell you what, I was at Manchester United yesterday and I was told something that I didn't really know whether I could say it or not, but I have been told today that I can say it. But in relation to what's coming out of Manchester United, football-wise, from the shareholders meeting today, this is from Manchester United Football Club, and it echoes a lot of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, and that is why I truly believe £250 million minimum is what Manchester United have got to spend this summer. And to be honest with you, we spent £75 million last summer, so it's a massive, massive improvement. We are going to back this manager. That's what we want. And if next season we don't succeed, but we have bought the players that Ole wants, and he has got rid of the players that Ole doesn't want, then we can all sit there next season and go, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you're always going to be a legend because of what you did in '99, but you're not a Manchester United manager. You probably need to go. That could happen next season, but this summer is going to require patience. Next season is going to require patience. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand what a big problem the last 6 years has been in relation to the recruitment at Manchester United. But the key points that came out that Ed Woodward has said, although everyone is disappointed with the 6th place finish, we've already begun preparations for next season, and there's a real determination to make a fresh start and get back to competing at the top under Ole and his team. Words from the chief executive, words from Ed Woodward. There's a real preparations in place for next season and a real determination. Well, what more do you want? You can believe it or you can not believe it, but at least it's been said, because in previous years you haven't got that honesty, or or maybe it's not true, but it has been said. Everyone at the club, the board, the manager, the squad and all the staff is determined to get Manchester United back to the top of English football, and we continually look to improve on and off the pitch to achieve this. This is talking about staffing off the pitch and staffing on the pitch. And again, Manchester United at the top of English football. I mean, Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? But it's being said, and that you can only take it on face value. The strength of our business means we have the financial resources to continue to provide a solid foundation for backing the manager and creating success on the pitch. This is the number one goal for everyone at the club, and our successful commercial business operation is in service of that goal, not independent of it. So that is a direct answer to the question. All this money that Manchester United generate from deals and brand deals, etc., that is to go towards the playing side of things. Now, of course, I understand the trepidation. I understand the suspicion. I really, really do. But I think we're getting lost. I think we're getting lost on what we are at the moment. As a football club, the squad's not good enough. Lukaku's, your Sanchez's, your Jones, your Young. These players are not good enough. And if they get replaced and we're still finishing fifth, then maybe you start to look at the structure of the football club. And we know it's not ideal that we're run as a business, and we know that the Glazers aren't really what people want as the owners, but we have been successful under them. And I think at the moment, personally, I just feel that this summer is huge for Manchester United, and we either keep moaning or we try and be positive and move forward. MUFC Russell sucks. We haven't signed a player, which has to be done soon, yet Real Madrid have just confirmed 52 million signing of Jovic. And Mark, are we trying to treat our wounds with expensive plasters again, or do you think there's some genuine thought and care going into this summer? I'd go with the latter, Nick. I really would go with the latter. I think Manchester United always spend a lot of money when we're in the Europa League. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a new manager. We've never been in a situation as bad as we are, and despite what people think about the structure at Manchester United, they're not stupid people. They know the situation. They'll know. They'll be aware of how the fans are feeling. They'll be aware of how poor we've been on the pitch. They'll be aware that we've lost at home to Cardiff fairly 2-0, a relegated side. So they know that they can't go into the next season with the same way, with the things the way they are. What do you do at a football club that is in a real decline? What do you do? The question's a rhetorical one, but the answer is very simple. When the players are not playing for the badge, you change the players. You do. We've changed the manager. The manager must be given this transfer window, and that's my. I can only be honest with you. My feeling with Manchester United at the moment is I am very angry. I am very frustrated, but most of it's aimed at the players. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I can't be angry with him because he did a very good job for a short period of time. He did a very bad job for a short period of time. This is his first summer where we're going to see who he gets rid of and who he brings in. And I'll put my hands up. If Ashley Young and Phil Jones play next season and he gets rid of Martial and Pogba and De Gea and buys bang average players, then I'll be like, whoa, we made a mistake there. But I have the trust and I have the hope in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that he's going to be the right man. And I think he has to be given this summer to do it. So that's where my patience comes in. With regards to the club, again, they've made mistakes. They've appointed bad managers, but they did give those managers money. How do I feel about the club? Well, look, if they give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer £250 million and the right players come into the club, what am I complaining about in August? This is the refresh button. This is the thing that Ed Woodward's on about. Of course, what I do say, and I am always sceptical and I am always suspicious and I don't have a lot of faith, but seeing is believing, so you better grab your specs. We're in a situation where we can keep moaning, and I you know me, I like a moan, but with regards to Manchester United, last season's gone, reset button. Let's see if the club and Ollie have the same vision as the fans. We know 250 million at least needs to be spent, and that's not discounting if De Gea or Pogba go. If they go, you add that money on top. If De Gea and Pogba stay, 250 million. I want a centre-back, a right-back, 2 centre midfielders and a right winger. And I tell you what, I said it earlier on, I'll live with Lukaku another year, scaring the birds with his first touch. I don't care, as long as we bring those 5 positions in and they're good quality players and not cheap, inferior players. So we've got to see what happens. We can all moan about Real Madrid. Of course we can. I'll come back to that. Sujat Daz says 250 million would not be enough this summer because apart from the new players, we also need to fill the void left by Herrera. But this is my point, Sujit. People are thinking, let's spend 400, 500 million. And I agree with you. But you can't do that in one summer. We're not going to do that. Because to spend 400 or 500 million means to buy 6 or 7 players, which means you won't have time to get rid of some players. This is a process. This is patience. Do you think I like it? No, I don't. Do you think Ollie likes it? No, he doesn't. Do you think you as fans like it? No. But we've got to be real. We're not FIFA players. We're not Football Manager players. We can't sell 10 players. We can't bring in 10 players. It can't be done. So we need to do it. If we want to fight for titles, I know as well as you do, we need to get rid of 10 players. We need to sign 10 players. I agree. Give yourself a clap. You're spot on. But we're not going to do it. Which is why next season, when we go to Anfield or the Etihad and we still get beat, It's whether we can be that patience to go, well, actually, that last summer, we saw 4 or 5 players come in that will make us better. We do the same next summer and then the January transfer window, and we'll gradually get to where we need to be. Look at what Klopp's done at Liverpool. It's taken him 3 years. This is Ollie's first summer. I know we hate it because we're thinking 6 years ago when we won the title, quite rightly, but we are hitting reset. Forget the last 6 years. We're hitting reset, and it's not going to happen overnight. So you're right. We probably do need to sell a lot of players. It's not going to happen. A gift from Norway for a superb fan channel. Keep me updated, says Roger Christofferson. Thanks, pal. There are a few super chats that I need to come back to, but I want to make sure I get everything right. Salman says you're supporting Glazers and Ed Woodward. Oh, mate, look, I'll take any of your questions. I'm not bothered what you say. I just think that's an idiotic answer. I think... Oh, shock horror, Manchester United fan is fed up of being negative and fed up of looking back and actually wants to back this manager. That's what I'm saying. I want to back this manager, and I will revisit this in August, and if we've spent £50 million and not sold anybody, I'll go bloody apeshit like everybody else. I'll have put my hands up. But until then, I've got to believe what's coming out of the club and what's coming out of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's mind is true. And what I was told yesterday in relation to Manchester United, because I did take a note of this, with regards, I put it on my phone at the time, because when I was at Old Trafford yesterday, there was a few people like quite senior there, and we were all having a chat. And this is from a senior source at Manchester United, not a source, I suppose it is a source, but a senior person at Manchester United when we were at the Influencer Day yesterday, because obviously influencers, they wanted to meet us and interact, and there was a few drinks after. I was told this from somebody who works at Manchester United. With regards to recruitment this summer, I'm okay. There is good communication between Ollie and his team and recruitment department, scouts and analysts, all working together to identify the right players in terms of talent, attitude and style of play. Also, there's no shortage of players that want to come and join Manchester United, and the club have plans of which areas they want to strengthen and the type of players that they want. So again, that's nothing new. That's just what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said 2 weeks ago. But it's good to know, because Manchester United's recruitment and scouting network is bloody huge. It's huge. People don't appreciate that. It's out there. It's massive. The problem's been there's not necessarily been a good relationship, especially with Mourinho and the recruitment and the scouting, because they've rubbed head. So I think when the club is saying there's a really good relationship between Ollie and Mike Phelan and the recruitment and the scouts, that is a positive if you understand how Manchester United football works. This is why we need a sporting director and a director of football. I spoke about this last night, because United have got a huge hundreds network of recruitment and analysts looking at players all the time. Then you've got your manager in the day-to-day. So the manager can say, I want this player, but the scouts and the analysts can go, you should be going for this player, and they can disagree. That's why you have a sporting director, a director of football, who's sort of like the peacemaker, I suppose. But for the club to be saying that the scouts and analysts and Solskjaer and Mike Phelan have a good relationship, that shows there's a lot of agreement in the sort of player that Manchester United want to bring in. So that's a positive, and I was told that yesterday, because that's come from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's coming from the club. What I'm saying is, the signs that are coming from Manchester United and what's coming out of Manchester United are really positive. And you can be negative and not believe it, and maybe you are right not to believe it, but I've never known this at Manchester United. What did Mourinho used to say? I've given a list to Ed Woodward, let's see. I mean, the most vague, negative comment you can say, and he said it every summer. I've given a list to Ed, let's see what happens. What's happening this summer? Ed Woodward saying, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Mike Phelan, the scouts, the reports, everyone's working together to bring in the right sort of player. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying, I've got control in who's going to come in and who's going to come out. We know what sort of players we need. And the overarching thing, we all know a lot of business needs to be done. So for the first time in a long time, you've got that positivity. I mean, even in Sir Alex Ferguson's days, we would be chasing players like Ozil and Schneider. And what we get from Sir Alex is there's no value in the market. This summer, for me, is the most exciting one in relation to what is coming out of the club and what's coming out of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If they fail, then it's open season, as we know. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. I think there are players that want to come to this club. I think there's a big budget for it. And I think the club know that they've got to build something. And as fans, our job is, I suppose, to do whatever you want to do. I choose to be excited by it. I choose to be nervous by it, because it's a big, big ask for them to do it, to do what they say they're going to do. And if they don't do it in August, we will all look back and we will all say, remember in May, remember what Solskjaer said, remember what the club said. Where is this investment? Where's these sort of players that we're going to bring in? Where's this, harmony between the scouts and Solskjaer, and where are all these players, and where are all these players going out the door? We've only got to wait 2.5 months to find out if what's being said is true. And if they lie to us, well, that's another very dangerous thing to do. But I don't think that they are. And also, I think the very interesting thing is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said there is not a shortage of players that want to come to Manchester United. The club, again, when I was there yesterday, saying exactly the same thing. There is not a shortage of players that want to come to Manchester United. They are basically walking themselves into a PR nightmare if they don't deliver the players that we are expecting to come in, because you can't say that. You can't say there is no shortage of players that want to come to Manchester United and then not bring in 4 or 5 players. You can't do it. So I guarantee you, as much as I can say it, and I will go mad if it doesn't happen, I think we'll see. I think we're going to bring 4 or 5 players in. I do. I really, really do. Because I've never known this happen at Manchester United. Them to be so open and I suppose honest about what's going to happen, and the manager as well. So it's coming from the club, the manager, Ed Woodward. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. As for people who are saying, talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona, yeah, Barcelona have got De Jong. They're probably going to get De Ligt. They're probably going to get Griezmann. Real Madrid apparently going to announce a couple of deals before the start of June. Jovic and probably Hazard. So what? Are we competing with Real Madrid and Barcelona? No. Were we ever competing with Real Madrid and Barcelona? No. Even when we were winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, Real Madrid and Barcelona were always bigger in relation to transfers and who they were bringing in. We won Champions League, yes we did, but Real Madrid and Barcelona have always brought in these star players. So why are we suddenly comparing ourselves to Real Madrid and Barcelona's transfer activities when we are 6th in the Premier League and we're going to be in the Emirates Cup? We are not on that level. We should be comparing ourselves, unfortunately, to Chelsea and Spurs and Arsenal, because they are our immediate target. We're not in the same planet as Real Madrid and Barcelona. And you know why Real Madrid and Barcelona do transfers early? They're not thinking about Manchester United or Man City. They're thinking about Barcelona or Real Madrid, because that's what it's like in Spain. It's Real Madrid versus Barcelona, and it's been like that for decades. So Real Madrid will be signing Jovic because they know that Barcelona are about to announce Griezmann. And Real Madrid will be going for somebody else because they know that Barcelona are going to sign De Ligt. They're competing with each other. We are not in their sentence, and we should not be putting ourselves into their sentence. You know what? I'd love us to be like Real Madrid and Barcelona, but we haven't been like that. We've never been like that. We don't buy that sort of player. We're not that quick. We're not that attractive as a proposition. We're not one of the best teams in the world at the moment. I think it's irrelevant. And I think, again, United fans, some of you, because you've got so fed up, quite rightly, with last season, I think you're scratching around, looking for things to complain about things that are irrelevant. Real Madrid and Barcelona are not in the same sentence as us. They're not even in the same book. They're not even in the same bookshop. They're not. Ed Woodward calling us a business today. Well, yeah, all right, it's not ideal, but we've always been a business. We've always been a business since the Glazers took over, and we've been very successful when we were a business. I think if you want to moan, look at the playing squad. That is the issue for Manchester United at the moment. The playing squad is the issue. I'll argue that with anybody. The playing squad is the issue. The recruitment of that playing squad is an issue. And that is what we need to rectify. Because I tell you what, if we'd had a decent right back and a decent centre back and a decent right winger this season and a decent CDM, I think we would have finished 3rd. I do. I think that's down to bad recruitment. You can talk about the Glazers, whatever. That's 4 players that would have made us a far better team, and it's down to bad recruitment. Because actually, we have bought a CDM. He's crap. We have spent money on centre-backs. They've not worked out. We have spent money on centre midfielders. It's not worked out. Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger. I know they've long gone, but we still spent good money on them. And right wingers the same. We've bought badly. But we're 4 positions, maybe 5 now. Herrera's gone from being a team that can finish 3rd. And that is about recruitment. And that is what this summer is about. Yes, summer all about January 2, except 70% fixed by then, says Avin Dulka. I don't know what you're trying to say, mate, but thanks for the contribution. Let's read that back again. Yes, NVM summer all about January 2nd, except 70% fixed by then. Okay, yeah, I think I sort of understand what you mean. Mark, opinions on BBC saying that Manchester City will not sign Bruno Fernandes. I think Manchester United are in for Bruno Fernandes. I've said this for a very, very long time. And I will be very, very surprised if Manchester United, which is hence the... You know what? If you listen to what Woodward said today, you listen to what Solskjaer said 2 weeks ago, you listen to what the club are saying, you know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got at least £200 million to spend. At least £200 million to spend, because he's got to sign 5 players. So 5 into 200 is 40 million. Well, 40 million pound players is what Fulham do. We need to be buying a few 60, 70 million pound players. So you're going beyond 200 million. And I think that's what the club are saying. And I think that is what's going to happen. We're not going to just sign 2 players. We're going to go and try and sign 4 or 5 because we need to. And it's a process and it's something they're going to commit to. And I think everything that's being said, and for it to be said in a shareholders meeting as well, is very important, because if you don't understand the shareholder meeting, people get very angry about things like Manchester United apps being mentioned and social media things being mentioned. But these are shareholders, they're not journalists, they're not fans, they are investors in the club and they want to know about the business side of things. However, when it's mentioned in the shareholders meeting about investment in the squad and getting us to be the best club in England, you don't lie to your shareholders. It's a very important statement to make, and we are going to spend a lot of money. Otherwise, as I said, if we're in there in August and we've not bought well and we've not sold well, we're all going to be very, very angry. And as I said, I think the icing on the cake with this is, and the point where under Sir Alex, where they used to say we've got money to spend but there's no value in the market. Forget about that. That excuse cannot come out. It cannot come out because of what's come out of the club and what's come out of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's mouth. There's no shortage of quality players that want to come to Manchester United. That statement, to me, we're going to buy 4 or 5 players and we're going to spend big money, because you can't say we're going to invest in the squad and there's no shortage of quality players and then not deliver. Because what's your excuse? You said you've got the money. You've said there's quality players that want to come here. Why didn't it happen? Oh, the clubs didn't want to sell. But those players said they want to come to Manchester United. They'll force the move. So forget about it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Otherwise, in August, I'm going to sit here and go absolutely mad. Because I'm not putting my reputation on the line, because I haven't really got much of a reputation. But I am saying, as a fan, I trust the club to do what needs to be done this summer. Which is a very, very big statement to make. But I think when you read between the lines, these are not articles from the Sun or the Daily Express or the Mail or the Guardian or wherever. These are coming out of Manchester United Football Club, and you've got to be able to take those as gospel. You have. Nazim Alam says, Mark, do you believe that Ollie is happy with getting Europa League because he wanted the players to get a wage cut so it would be easier to get them out? I don't actually believe in the wage cut. I think it's a myth. I really do. You're telling me that footballers have got it in their contract that they get a 25% pay wage cut if we're in the Europa League. Paul Pogba signed when we're in the Europa League, so how would that be in his contract that if we're not in the Europa League again, you're going to get a 25%? It doesn't make sense with some of the players. I think some of the players might have it, but it doesn't make sense with others. But regardless of that, I actually do think that, I've said this before, if you want Manchester United to spend a lot of money, look at when we spend the most money. Van Gaal, first season, Europa League, spent a lot of money. Mourinho, first season, Europa League, spent a lot of money. Last season, Champions League, Mourinho spent nothing. This season, Ollie, Europa League, I think we're going to spend a lot of money. I do. I really, really do. And I hope you agree. Anyway, please do smash a like on the video, everybody. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Neves would be a smart purchase, Jake. I agree with you on that one. But I just want to talk about the England squad very quickly as well. This was something I really wanted to bring into this show because it won't work on Transfer Daily tomorrow. Just very, very quickly, Luke Shaw, our Player of the Year, not picked for England. I don't know what you think about it. I've seen Southgate's comments, and he was asked a direct question: is Luke Shaw unlucky not to be part of the squad? And Gareth Southgate, being the typical twat he is, came out with a very blunt answer, trying to act like he's Pep when he's a BTEC Pep, saying, no, not at all. Danny Rose and Ben Chilwell have been quality this year and they deserve the spot. I don't mind him saying that. I think Chilwell has had a very good season and he's better than Luke Shaw. I think he's the best left-back in England. He's the best English left-back, sorry. Danny Rose, I don't really rate Danny Rose. I think Luke Shaw's better, but I just think Southgate's just a bit condescending. He did it with Smalling and he's done it with another United player. And I think, to be honest with you, I think Luke Shaw pulling out of the internationals in March, which was a very smart move for us, has probably cost him, because he did mention something about being there for England. And I tell you what, I'm actually happy Luke Shaw's not playing for England, because I think he's had a good season for United, and I think I would love it if all our players went and had 2 months off. I think they need it. They've been under Jose Mourinho for 2.5 years, where he's had them really lazy, pragmatic, defensive, not running around. Then they've had the last few months running around like madmen under Ollie, and it's knackered them. I think as many of our players that get 2 months off before July, the better. Which brings me on to the second point. Marcus Rashford's been called up again. Jesse Lingard I'm not really bothered about, but Marcus Rashford's been called. I can't remember, since Marcus Rashford came on the scene as a teenager, has he ever had a month off from football? And he doesn't seem to be switched on to this himself. You know, he's releasing statements about we need to get back to being the willingness of Manchester United. It's all well and good, but Marcus, your performances in a United shirt have been shit for months. And have you not thought about why that is? It's not willingness and effort, mate. You are running around. You've been playing with injuries. You're clearly exhausted. You've clearly got no confidence. Do you really think going to England again and, you know, literally you're going to get 2 weeks off before July? Like, literally. I think England are playing around the middle of June, their last game, and we're back in training on July the 1st. So Marcus Rashford's going to get 2 weeks off. Like, or maybe he'll get an extra week. If he wasn't part of the England setup, he'd get 2 months off. This is the problem with Rashford and whoever's around him. I know it's wrong of what I'm about to say, but think about your career, mate. You're only in your early 20s. And you are absolutely grinding yourself down. People in our club are calling you the new Danny Welbeck. They're calling you Trashford. I'm just saying you've been really bad for 3 months. I really like you as a player. I still think you've got the talent to be a top player. But you're not going to do it if you don't look after yourself. You know, Rooney did this, but Rooney was talented. Michael Owen did it, and he was a good player. But they still were done by their late 20s. You've not even completed the cycle of where you're going to be as a player. We don't know what you're going to be yet. Maybe you will be the next Welbeck, but maybe you'll be the next Andy Cole, or maybe you'll be the next Van Nistelrooy. We don't know. But what you do need to do is get some rest, mate. You're still developing as a player and physically. You cannot just keep going from a season like that, carrying injuries, playing every week, going to England, having 2 weeks off, and then starting the process again. He needs 2 months off, and he needs somebody in his ear saying, look, I know you want to play for England, but realistically, what's more important? Playing a couple of games for England in some crap BTEC World Cup tournament, or getting 2 months off and developing your career so that you're playing for the next 10 years? I think he's getting bad advice, or he's being very stubborn. He needs a break. I don't give a shit about England. I really don't. I don't mind watching England, but actually, I give more of a shit about Marcus Rashford's career. And he's crying out for 2 months off. He is crying out for it. He really is. But he's burning himself into the ground. Absolutely. So when is he going to get his confidence back, his fitness back, his composure back, when he's just going to go from the playing for England, finishing our season, to England, back to pre-season? It ain't working. Paul Pogba should leave, says Toby Oladipo. Puts up numbers in a championship level squad and still gets slated. We don't deserve him or Big Dave. Inconsistent but quality. I'm bored by the Pogba debate, by the way. Welcome Mo the Maker. The Pogba thing's become what I never wanted it to be. You know, it's become about, I've seen him, he's gone to Mecca. Now he's being picked on because he's a Muslim. We've had it because he's French. We've had it because he's black. We've had it for lots and lots of different reasons. And this is why I'm just not really interested in it anymore. My issue with Paul Pogba is that he had 2 very good months and then he's had 6 bad months. And, you know, for everybody who sticks up for Paul Pogba, please explain to me why Paul Pogba, one of the best midfielders in the world, is not able to impose himself against 2 relegation midfields, Huddersfield, Cardiff, and every other game. For whatever reason, Pogba checked out in mid-March like most of that team did. And that is the point I want to make about Pogba. It shouldn't just be about him. It should be about Rashford, Lingard, Martial, Matic, everybody. Everybody checked out in mid-March. And I don't know why that is. It could be fitness. It could be bad toxicity in the squad. But I'm bored of listening about it's Pogba's fault. I'm bored about listening that Pogba gets picked on for this, that and the other reason. I think Pogba, you can add 6 or 7 other players to the conversation and they all did the same thing. They checked out in mid-March and played shit for the rest of the season. And I don't know why. And it's not acceptable. And they all deserve a lot of blame for that. But it shouldn't just be about one player. And also, on the other hand, all these people who live up his ass, what are you talking about? He had 2 good months and the rest of the season was poor. So, you know, the middle ground is Pogba's been as bad as everybody else, and they all deserve a lot of blame. Well, in fact, he's not been as bad as everybody else because he had quite a good season for 2 months. There's a lot worse than him, but he's still culpable like a lot of other players. Okochoku, Patrick Ossie says, Rashford needs the rest. I think his form is related to injuries. I think people are being unfair to him. Sanchez ran himself to the ground too. Oh, don't. You ruined your statement with that. What are you defending Alexis Sanchez for? 400 grand a week and he's absolutely crap for 18 months. Do not even bring Sanchez into the argument. We need a deep line playmaker like Ruben Neves, says Lequac07. Well, hopefully 2 midfielders. And Ross Ibista says Gomez and Trent Alexander-Arnold were young, developed talent who not got given a chance by Klopp. Why can't that be Twansibi and Delo? I'd love to ask Ollie why he picks Young. Ross, you and 20 million other fans, I think, would feel exactly the same. I don't know why he picks Ashley Young, and I hope that he does give some of these young lads a go. But whether he gives young lads a go or not, recruitment's still massively important at Manchester United, and we all know that. We've got to recruit well. Welcome to Mo the Maker. I think I've already welcomed him. Latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Remember, you can join the United Stand Members Club. You get a little badge next to your name. It changes every month you're a member. Your name will be in green. You get access to the emojis and the community tab on the homepage where we do some polls and stuff. Mark, you should have told someone at United to sign Kessie, says MAO Shelwyn. I'd love to buy Frank Kessie. I mean, if you want to watch some good football over the summer, get on to Mark Goldbridge, That's Football, where I'm doing my FIFA career mode. I have got Kessie in midfield, and Pogba's brilliant for me. But no, I would like to buy Frank Kessie. I don't know how his deal works because I think he's on loan from Atlanta to AC Milan with a 2-year option to buy, but I don't know what's happening with him. But AC Milan have got money problems. I like Kessie. I mean, there's an element of risk with him, but I do like him. Kachoku, Patrick, Ossie, prior to joining United, Sanchez never got a rest. He's had plenty of rest since, though, hasn't he? You can't say rest is the problem for Alexis Sanchez now. He's had plenty of bloody rest. We should sign you in midfield, Mark, says Jared C. Hey, let's not run away with it. Let's not get stupid. Why buy Kessie, says So Randomised? Because I like Kessie and he's a midfielder. You might like 10 other midfielders. I'm just giving you my opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. I like Kessie. I've mentioned him a lot. Luke Shaw clearly isn't crap. He's our player of the year. He won player of the year. He won player of the month 3 times, voted by Manchester United fans. If you personally think Luke Shaw's crap and you want to jump on some ridiculous agenda like some of our fans are, you jump on it, mate. But he clearly isn't crap. He is a player that should be our left back next season. He's not a priority position to improve, just like a few other positions aren't a priority, but maybe in future it will be. If we buy 5 players this summer, then maybe next summer we do look at a left back when we buy 5 others. But for now, Luke Shaw's not a priority position to solve at all. We need a centre back, we need a right back, we need 2 midfielders, we need a right winger, and then if one of the strikers goes, we need another one of those as well. So left back's not even an issue for Manchester United at the moment. And I don't really get the hate because he is going to be here next year and he is going to be playing left back. So what are you going to do? Just keep hating on a left back who's your player of the year and won player of the month 3 times? You need to bloody grow up. Here we go. Aditya. Shaw can't even put a good cross in. Well, you're wrong, mate, because if you go back to the Arsenal game, he put a cross in the first 5 minutes that Lukaku should have scored and we probably would have won that game. I think the game after that, he put a cross on Rashford's head and he closed his eyes and headed it over. Luke Shaw hasn't got as many assists as he should have, I would agree with you, but he definitely can cross a ball, and sometimes it's players not putting the chances away. Remember Paul Pogba the first season under Zlatan? I was on about this to Flex yesterday. People are talking about Paul Pogba's stats for this year. Loads of them are penalties, so I'm not interested in penalties. They're stat padding. The first season Paul Pogba was here should have been his best for stats because he actually played really well, and Zlatan missed loads of chances. So sometimes, as a provider of goals, you're only as good as the people who get on the end of the assist. Welcome to Aidan O'Brien, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. And Stuart Griffin says, we should go after Lloyd Kelly from Bristol if we're going to develop young British youth. Don't know anything about him, Stuart. Don't know anything about him. But there we go. Anyway, look, I'm going to get off. I've said my bits and you've said yours. Thanks, everyone, dropping a like on the video. Please do. I hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. I think that, I'm not scared to talk about the things that need to be spoken about, and I know you're not either. And we're not necessarily here to agree with each other. We're all very, very passionate people. But I really do think that Manchester United are going to spend 250 million. I think we're not dealing with the Sun here. We're not dealing with the Daily Mirror. We're not dealing with the Daily Mail. We are dealing with Manchester United Football Club telling people what's going to happen this summer. We are dealing with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer telling people what's going to happen this summer. And for those things to happen, they're going to have to spend north of 200 million quid. And they're going to have to deliver the sort of players that we want. And it's going to have to be 4 or 5 players coming in and 4 or 5 players going out. And to me, that's the perfect start because it can't all be done in one summer anyway. If none of those things are delivered, all eyes on the club. And why didn't it happen? And as I said, the biggest statement for me that I've heard twice now, there is no shortage of quality players that want to come to Manchester United, which means no value in the market, blah-de-blah, none of that makes any sense if they say it, because apparently there's no shortage of quality players that want to come to this club. and we've got the money to spend it. I think it's going to happen. Let's see what happens. Gordon Murray says, signing 4 or 5 players, where would you expect us to finish in the league at the end of next season? Gordon, I've said this before. I personally think that we are aiming for 4th place. Anything 3rd, maybe. 2nd, 1st, forget it. But that will be progress for us next year, because we were firmly in 6th, and I think we would have dropped even further if the season had been a little bit longer. So, to me, 4th place next season, maybe a good cup run, that is progress, but it's also patience, and it's whether the fans have realised that. And also, we've had a super chat here from MUFC Reese Russell. What matters most importantly is Ollie has been guaranteed funds. Give him the summer, he gets his key signings, and he may lead us to something great. If he fails, then we can demand his sacking. And I think, as blunt as that statement is, I think it's absolutely right. Anyway, I'm back again tomorrow, 7 a.m, Transfer Daily. Quite a big story in Transfer Daily tomorrow. I've just got to do a bit of research on it, and we'll put it up tomorrow morning. Subscribe to the channel, get your notifications on, and I'll see you at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. And have a good evening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Really enjoyed that show. I feel like I need to take a breath. But good stuff, passion. This is what we want. This is what we want. You know, it never stops at Manchester United. The season may be over, but it's all eyes on what the club are going to do now. It's going to be very fast-paced this summer. It's going to be very, very intense. You know, no club in the world has this, and it is going to be exciting. So, yeah, fasten your seatbelts. I hope it's going to be a good ride. Speak to you soon.